Hey bud, how you doing? Welcome to Herp Corner. Hope you don't mind me being a little distant. I seem to have dropped my phone in this here river. Actually, on that note, we've gathered here today at the Orange River of South Africa, where we'll be talking about the Shield-Snouted Amphisbaenid, also known as the Cape Worm Lizard, the South African Shield-Snouted Amphisbaenid, Cape Wedge-Snouted Worm Lizard, Monopeltis capensis, and... oh, wait a second, that's it? But I called him an Amphisbaenid. I guess that's not even a proper name for him. Listen, here's the thing. I've, on many occasions, referred to worm lizards as Amphisbaenids, even if that's not entirely correct. But here's the thing, right? The term Amphisbaenid is short for their family, Amphisbaenidae. Get it? So there's no harm in using that as a shorthand, right? All this to say, don't get pissed off at me for continuing to call them Amphisbaenids. People make words up every day, and Amphisbaenids are hardly ever talked about at all. So guess what that means? Shield-Snouted Amphisbaenids are not only very geographically inconsistent, meaning you can be out there for a stroll at Johannesburg, see an Amphisbaenid, go, oh hey, there's a little guy, and keep walking and not see another until you're at the Limpopo. But they're also very individual in coloration. The dude you saw at Johannesburg may be a bright white, whereas the guy at the Limpopo is a deep purple. Minimal research has been actually done on why that is, but I have a feeling it's because of location-specific conditions that might be affecting the embryos as they're developing. I'm not sure what specific characteristics are associated with the different places they're native to, but that's a potential hypothesis. Kind of like how specific temperatures can impact what gender is born from an egg, you know? Just an idea, though. Oh, actually, on that note, this species is viviparous. No, not ovoviviparous, straight up viviparous. No additions. Pretty peculiar for a reptile, but their babies are born live. Nice. This can be deduced from the fact that no specimens have been recorded possessing an egg tooth, which is what baby reptiles will use to break out of the egg they're born in. Additionally, gestation is said to be around 1 month. They're also neotenic, so the babies look identical to the parents. They're born at around 3.9 inches, or 10 centimeters, and they're all summer children. Since that's the breeding season, I mean. And 1 to 3 babies are born at a time. Not to mention the fact that they're born with these insane pectoral scales, right? Check out his insane abs. That's pretty cool. The IUCN Red List judges the Shield-Snouted Amphisbaenid as least concern. Terrific. They're supposedly incredibly common in South Africa, even if documentation on them really doesn't reflect that. With that, I suppose the IUCN Red List also doesn't spend much time thinking about conservation efforts for them. Oh, no conservation actions are recommended. You serious?
You serious?
It's not so hard to be a little creative every now and then. John IUCN, come on now. No, I kid. We still love and respect you, John. Now, the fact that they're native to South Africa is of course very important to keep in mind when discussing their care. Most specifically, their enclosure conditions. Humidity, temperature, the like. Shouldn't be too hard to capture their native conditions in captivity, right? I mean, they cover a lot of land, but that shouldn't be important. South Africa is pretty diverse in conditions, actually. Let's look at a graph of their average conditions. Oh, this is very helpful. There's a clear divide between the arid parts and the more humid parts. So where do these Amphisbaenids tend to hang out here? Oh. They stay in equal parts arid and humid. So we don't really have a marker on what they like. Mostly because they like both. Right. So what does that mean for their care? Hi. The Shield-Snouted Amphisbaenid. Whoa. Got my boys here. Got my window back there. Don't look out my window. If you use it to dox me, I think I might have to gargle toilet water. Anyway, the topic at hand is, I don't know how to sit. No, that's not the topic. The topic is the Shield-Snouted Amphisbaenid, specifically their care. Huh. At least the basics of it. Now, as with most worm lizards, Amphisbaenids, Amphisbaenidians, the care of them is not documented. I was going to say minimally documented, but that would imply that there is anything about that. And there isn't. However, it is easy to speculate on what it could be based on their environmental conditions, right? One of the easiest things, or at least the most basic things to pin down, would definitely be their diet, which is not specified anymore. Well, I mean, there are of course people like iNaturalist who very confidently say, yeah, I feel like I remember that they're insectivorous, but guess what? When they put the little footnote and you click on the footnote and then you go down into their sources and you click the link to the paper that they cite, it doesn't exist. So despite this inconsistency, I think it's easy to say that they do in fact eat insects. I know some worm lizards will lay their eggs in termite mounds and ant hills, so it is possible that they also feed on termites or ants. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. If you do, hypothetically, end up being able to keep this species in captivity, definitely experiment with what types of food that you give them, whether that be actual like meat, I don't know, fish would be interesting to experiment with, bits of chicken, dog food, because I know legless lizards specifically can eat dog food sometimes, though not primarily, cat food, different types of beetles that includes, like, I don't know, the blue guys, the blue guys that work as cleanup crews for arid bioactive enclosures, specifically for shield-snouted Amphisbaenids, because the range that they are native to is so diverse in conditions. You're going to need to recreate that in captivity at some capacity, whether that's now, an idea that may or may not work would be, I don't know, separating half the enclosure, one being a hot and humid and arid side, the other being a also hot and but instead dry side. Keep that in mind, because they are native to a lot of to the land areas around a lot of different sort of lakes and bodies of water and whatnot. So keep that in mind, right? That is probably their main water source. As is common with the rest of the entire continent of Africa, it is, or at least a majority of the continent of Africa, the places that they're often native to are usually quite hot. And so the enclosure should probably be consistent with that. The basking is of course very good, even though that they are considered fossorial, as in they dig burrows and whatnot. They can still potentially go out to bask. I know my Kenyan sandboa right here, that's who lives in this big enclosure. Although Kenyan sandboas are incredibly fossorial, in fact that's why they're called sand boas, she is known to go on the little leaves here and whatnot and climb and go up to the heat lamp midday, right? Or just straight out rest in the open area right underneath the light, right? And so because of that has opened my eyes to the fact that, yes, fossorial species still do enjoy basking on occasion, right? So take advantage of that with your little shield-snouted Amphisbaenid, and provide them with like a basking surface of some sort. The hottest part of the enclosure should definitely be around 89 degrees Fahrenheit, and the coldest part should definitely be around 78 degrees Fahrenheit. But never ever let the enclosure drop below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. That is their absolute limit, right? And that includes at nighttime. That's including nighttime, including the winter. Now the hot side specifically would do best with a, or at least the entire enclosure would do best with a divided humidity levels. The hot side should be around 74% humidity, and the cold side, or cooler side, should be around 87%. Got it? Yes. Yeah, the rest would be pretty standard in terms of the care of African dwelling species. I mean, yes, yeah. Depending on the section of the enclosure and the conditions of which and whatnot. If you do somehow, by any sort of happenstance, whether it's you actually live in South Africa or something else, happen upon this species and decide to keep them for yourself, definitely do research on the care of other more well-known species of South Africa and their general characteristics. Get it? Okay. Yes, and you should have a pretty happy animal. I can't attest to how hardy they are or anything, because nobody has ever gone on record and said that they keep them in captivity, but compared to most worm lizards, like for instance the checkerboard worm lizards, they seem to be pretty hardy and forgiving in terms of how they react to mess-ups, you know? So experimentation is definitely key, and if you do get your hands on one, please let me know, or just let anyone know. Just post about it. I don't know, do something. Tell people about your findings, about the behavior that they exhibit, right? I'd love to know. So, and if I want to know, then a lot of other people probably want to know. Get it? Yes, you get it. Anyway, back to the, Head depressed, snout projecting, sounds kind of toxic to me. Shield-Snouted Amphisbaenids were discovered in 1848 by Sir Andrew Smith, who undoubtedly witnessed them doing what they always do. They're fossorial in nature, as with most Amphisbaenids, and spend most of their time burrowing in the deep soils or maneuvering themselves around cracks and rock piles. As with most other blind reptiles, or blind Amphisbaenids specifically, they have very acute sensations other than sight. And yes, they do have eyes, they're just incredibly tiny and kind of useless. Amphisbaenids often got keen olfactory and hearing abilities. In the ear in Amphisbaenia reptilia, further anatomical observations, Ernest Glenn Weffer and Carl Gahan write that these guys have the ability to move and re-angle their ear holes to better hear the noises around them. I mean, I can move my ears fine, but most reptiles just straight up can't. The downside of lacking external ear muscles. Aside from this, most Amphisbaenids will release pheromones with their tongues all around their burrows to help them navigate with scent. That's just straight up true. Alright, now, before we wrap up, here is 2 truths and a lie about this species. Let's see if you were paying attention. A, the shield-snouted Amphisbaenid is actually called the shield-snouted Amphisbaena. B, the shield-snouted Amphisbaenid is viviparous. And C, the shield-snouted Amphisbaenid is completely blind and has no vision whatsoever. Which one was the lie? Feel free to comment down below. And do not cheat by waiting for me to tell you at the end. If you do, then I will be disappointed. Hey, do you like reptiles? Or amphibians? Have you been looking for a community of people to socialize with? Get this! We have a community Discord. Link in description. It's not entirely reptile-oriented, more of a friend clubhouse. Either way, we got calls every Tuesday at 5 o'clock p.m. PDT, or PST, I guess, where we draw together on Aggie.io and a few other different things. If you ever want to drop on by, it's a good time. We're all buds, you know. But anyway, I think that's going to be it for this episode of Herp Corner. Sources will be in the description. If you're interested in this topic, I'd recommend looking further into their husbandry or history. If you like what I do and know a specific reptile or amphibian you'd like to see me cover, put it in the comments. feel free to subscribe since I do these every other week. Like the video to support the channel. Have a good evening, morning, or afternoon. Thank you for listening, watching, whatever. And I'll see you next time. By the way, the lie was answer A. They're actually called the Shield-Snouted Amphisbaenian, not Amphisbaena. It's not right. Okay, have a good night.